I wonder, for someone like yourself, who's spoken extensively about Iran and the need for the UK and allies to work with reasonable elements in the country to counter the regime, I wonder what you make of what is going on. It is happening from within, despite what we've heard from Donald Trump. This has all been instigated from within the country.
Yes, I think it's an extraordinary moment. We don't yet know whether it's a definitive moment, but these incredibly brave people on the streets of major cities throughout Iran who want their country back. Obviously, we want to support them in every way we can without increasing the jeopardy upon them. And I hope that what Donald Trump will do is not to attack the regime itself and the Ayatollah, which would make martyrs of them. But I do hope he is seriously considering taking military action against the IRGC. The Iranian government cannot rely on the army anymore. They are dependent upon the IRGC. We know that they are murdering people in Tehran and in other cities. And I hope very much they're considering, the Americans are considering using military force to take down the concentrations of militia and their command and control centres of the IRGC, which they know very well.
Does that not put civilians at risk, though, whether that's a response to any US attack on the IRGC or whether that is that civilians get caught up? Any military action has to be considered very carefully.
Very carefully indeed, and has to be very specific. And that is why I say I do not think that they should attack the senior civilians in the regime, but it is the IRGC who are on the streets murdering Iranian citizens. And it seems to me that if America wants to try and influence what is going on, they should put the fear of God up the IRGC.
Andrew Mitchell, which country do you think has the greatest influence really on the reformists in Iran? Who are they closest to? Is it France? Is it America? Is it the UK?
I think it's very widely spread, and I made the point to the Foreign Secretary in the House of Commons that people must stop ignoring Reza Pahlavi, who is the son of the ousted Shah from 49 years ago. It is his name that is on the lips of the demonstrators on the streets. And I think that he is a significant force for good. He's not like Charles II in British history, seeking a restoration of the monarchy. He's seeking to try and create the space for a civilian regime to take over when that is possible within Iran. He's a patriot and a democrat, and I think he should not be being ignored in the way that he has been over many years.
Donald Trump and Yvette Cooper have both talked about tightening sanctions. There were already, of course, a lot of sanctions in place on Iran. Is there really much room to tighten them, first of all? And secondly, isn't one of the problems with that the people who feel the immediate pain are the ordinary citizens rather than the regime?
Well, you have to be wary of that. And of course, it was the market people who saw the collapse of the local currency who were the start of the current round of demonstrations. But, you know, there's not a lot we can do. I've made the point about not ignoring Reza Pahlavi and engaging with him. I think it's right that the UK and Europeans impose every possible further sanction and restriction on this Neanderthal pariah regime. And I hope that they will seek to turn the tourniquet as much as they possibly can on that. And the other thing that the governments of around the world can do that are on the side of the demonstrators is to help break the communications of blackout through Starlink and satellite and other technology too, and make sure the details of what is happening there and what the regime is doing, the barbarity on the streets, is well known.
When talking about Reza Pahlavi, the son of the last Shah, he said last year that he didn't want the United States or Israel to get involved directly and drive out the supreme leader and his lieutenants. He's always maintained that the regime would be destroyed by a combination of fracturing from within and pressure from popular unrest. That is, of course, happening at the moment. But he's changed his tune. He has had some kind words to say about Donald Trump over social media. There is also an assertion, despite the fact that I think plenty of people are mentioning his name. There is an Iran specialist at Chatham House, the think tank in London, who says she's actually unsure how wide Pahlavi's support really is inside the country. He may be the name being mentioned because he is the only name at the moment that people have to offer.
Well, I think that the support is for a change in regime, for patriotism and democracy to be asserted, and that Reza Pahlavi is the name associated with achieving that. I think.
But he is the only name, isn't he? And that is part of the issue, surely, Andrew Mitchell, is that there is a lot of faith, there is a lot of bigging up of Reza Pahlavi, and rightly so. But does he have support within the country? Is there a structure there so that if the regime falls, is there enough of a structure there, enough of a soft landing there for him to gather the country together to try and unite religious leaders within the country as well? He's talked about re-establishing a monarchy, which some people are sceptical about. Is there enough there for him?
I think he's not talking about re-establishing a monarchy, and this is the critical point. He is the established figure who might act as the midwife to a new form of government. I don't think he has got the support for the return of the monarchy. We need to distinguish between that on the one hand and the fact that he is a powerful figure who might be able to hold the ring as new leaders, democratically established, emerge. But we are, alas, sadly, a long way from that.
Andrew Mitchell, just on that point, I wonder what your assessment is of the situation. Obviously, you're not there, but you have your own sources of information. We've had, on the one hand, suggestions that maybe the repression is working, that some lines of communication appear to have been restored by the regime. But on the other hand, we have Donald Trump saying keep fighting, and we had the Iranian comedian Omid Jalabi, who's in touch with people in Iran, saying actually it's wrong to say that this uprising is petering out. Do you have any assessment or feeling yourself of the situation?
I think it is absolutely remarkable that these incredibly brave people are on the streets once again tonight. And I think the voice of the comedian who you've just quoted is nearer to what's going on the ground. But it is extraordinary that tonight, after all that has happened, these brave people continue to try and wrestle their country away from this appalling barbarity being perpetrated by the regime, and stand for a better life for their fellow citizens and their families.
Bit of news just into us. This is that the political website Axios in the States is reporting that Donald Trump's chief negotiator, Steve Witkoff, reportedly held a secret meeting with the former Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, over the weekend. We've been talking about him, so that is one thing to mention. We've also been hearing from Donald Trump, who's speaking at the moment at the Detroit Economic Club. He's repeated his messages to Iranian protesters to keep protesting, take over your institutions, help is on its way. So he's repeated that message made on Truth Social earlier. Save the names of the killers and abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused if the numbers are right, he says. One death is too much, but I hear much lower numbers, and then I hear much higher numbers. But I say save their names because they will pay a very big price. He says it's all very fragile. It would have happened to us, I'm telling you, if I didn't win this election. That's quite a conflation to make by Donald Trump. But again, he is reiterating his message there, Andrew Mitchell. And you have said that you have urged the US military to take action specifically on the IRGC. I repeat again, they are on the streets. They are trying to muffle this message out. They are trying to black out some of those huge statistics, the huge death toll that we've been talking about. If you take action against the IRGC on the streets, that is surely going to affect civilians.
Well, you absolutely mustn't take action against the IRGC on the streets. You have to go after their command and control centres, their provisions and equipment stores, their bases. The IRGC's locations as a military formation are well known, I think, to the Israelis and the Americans. And I'm absolutely not saying they should take them out on the street. But what I am saying is it's very good to hear that Donald Trump is making it clear that there won't be impunity for murderers on the street in military uniform who are killing citizens in Iran. And the fact that he said at the Detroit meeting that people must keep a note and keep the pictures, keep the names, keep the details, so that one day impunity can be ended and we can go after these people is a very good thing indeed. And you should never forget that, for example, as long ago back in Bosnia, where we never believed we would get the perpetrators of the appalling genocide that took place there, in the end, it took a little bit of time, but in the end, we got all of them. And so attacking the culture of impunity, I think, is very important. And I'm very pleased to hear the president has done that at the meeting tonight.
Of course, there are some in the United States critics of the administration pointing out the irony that Donald Trump is calling to account state forces on the streets in Tehran who are shooting people, while in his own country he is backing up ICE, which shot a female protester only a few days ago.
Well, that was a very unfortunate and sad event, but there's no comparison between what is happening on the streets of Iran and what happened sadly in America the other day. America is a country governed by a rule of law. People will be held to account for what they have done under American law. Nothing like that is taking place in Iran.
All right, well, look, thank you for being with us. Andrew Mitchell, former Deputy Foreign Secretary and Senior Conservative MP for Sutton Coldfield. Good to speak to you.